Hey, so we're doing something a little different. We decided that we would try to fill in a gap. We observed something we wanted to do and we saw a need, and I suggested we do something different for our recording. So this is Re, and that's Re. And the Re.
And the Re.
You good?
Yep.
All right, let's get into this. I want to talk on this wonderful occasion because November is always going to be special for us. So you're going to see this in our anniversary month. And I thought we'd start this little series of giving you something to talk about, maybe with your partner, or even getting a couples night together so y'all can have a little discussion. Is premarital counseling necessary?
I think I'm kind of toiling with it. I think it depends on the couple. I think that premarital counseling needs to change in terms of like the title of it. I think it is outdated.
Ooh, the term or the whole concept?
I think maybe the whole concept, because I don't think people really listen as it relates to premarital counseling. You think about all the people over the years that have received premarital counseling, and regardless of what, unless there were just some really glaring, red flags, they still are going to continue with the wedding.
Ooh, okay.
That's my opinion.
Okay, so I think a little differently, and maybe you have a number of friends or you're in a circle that I'm not familiar with, but I think it matters. I can get with you on the term. So let's just say maybe it's not premarital counseling, maybe it's relationship coaching.
It could be. So
that before you even get to the space that you believe this is a person you would marry, you're already asking the deeper questions. Because I'm assuming, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but a brother's not going to buy a ring. A brother's not going to spend a whole lot of time investing if he's not already convinced.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. So maybe it's before you get to the place where you've caught feelings, you all caught up in other things, that you really are sure, because you've taken the time to ask the deep questions, have the deep conversations, and then spare yourself a waste of time and money and energy.
I would say that it has to be kind of close to the time when that guy is thinking about getting married, because guys are not just we're not going to include that in, at least the guys I know, we're not going to include that into the dating part of.
Oh my. So that'll take us to a whole different place about, are we dating to marry or dating just to have fun? In a Christian perspective, let's just be real about your dating season should be gathering data. Right. For a person that you may potentially spend your life with, but you don't have to go into the dating season thinking, oh my God, that's her. Oh my God, that's him. Oh my God, am I finding the one? You can get to know people and build relationship, but once you find it, I think everybody knows when they catch your feelings. Like y'all don't know when something else kind of turning up and you feel in some kind of way. Yeah. So at that point, you need to be talking about some deeper things, no?
Yeah, I do. I agree. But that goes back to my point of, if we're having these conversations already without a third party, when by the time the third party comes into it, the couple has probably already made their decision that they want to be with that guy or that gal. And so that third party bringing up something, unless, as I said before, it's a red flag, they're going to think that they can work through this because they're in love.
Oh, or lust.
Love is a powerful thing.
Or lust.
But it makes you,
it
makes you make decisions that rationally may not make sense.
So let's pause and talk about this one. I'd love to know what you have to say. This is how we're going to do these sessions, because whether you are dating or already engaged or maybe even married, let's talk about what should be the conversations you have even leading up to the covenant you're going to make with somebody. What do you think? Leave your comments.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just assume that we are already at a place we know that we do want to build a life together. Then what should be the conversation? What should be the questions? Because we've already talked about this, and we even have video if you want to go back and check it out. I asked a lot of questions in the beginning.
Yeah. I think you just need to not be fearful of the questions that you may want to ask, regardless of whether you think it may be too sensitive. You need to just ask those questions. Now, hopefully you're trusting that the person on the other side is going to tell you the full story, and even then you may not get the full story. But let's just say both parties are being 100 with each other. Then you should feel comfortable asking those sensitive, deep questions, because this is the person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So you should be able to be vulnerable. You should be able to ask those deep questions, because it's just going to get, you're just going to get more vulnerable, and conversations are going to get deeper as you get married anyway.
Right.
So if you can't do it now, or don't feel like you can do it now, then you have to ask yourself the question, is this the person I really want to spend my life with?
So is it this person safe enough to be vulnerable and fully transparent? Do I feel that our relationship can handle all of this truth? But before that, as you were talking, I was thinking maybe you also need to talk about the deal breakers, because deal breakers mean I know I can't live and compromise in this area. I cannot settle. I cannot change who I am. I don't want to, and that's just who I am. So if we have that up front, then even once you get into this space of whatever you call what you think is falling in love, a third party coming in could help you sort through. But if you don't know that about yourself, if you don't know what your deal breakers are, if you don't know what the absolutes are, then you can go into something thinking, well, I can change him, or I can change her, or maybe I can change this. And that becomes another issue, because it's always going to come up again. Like, you're going to be who you really are. Life is going to happen to bring the real out. The keep it 100 is so important. So premarital obviously means before you get married. While you don't think the term or the concept is necessarily appropriate, it's what I'm hearing more about the timing of it, because it can help.
Timing and the level of the conversation. And obviously, I don't know what other organizations have as it relates to their premarital counseling, sessions. But I think that it seems to me a lot of the premarital counseling is outdated and doesn't necessarily keep up with what is going on in today's society as it relates to marriages and young adults getting married, and even people like myself who've been married before. Because when we did our premarital counseling, I was like, okay, yeah, that's not a problem. Or, we just kind of went through it. You had questions. I was like, okay, that's good.
So, and you know what? So that's another space we're going to pause, because there's a difference in preparing for marriage for people who've never been married and they're young and they're starting out in their 20s or early 30s or something like that. It's very different when you get to a certain space in life and you have more living to reflect on, or that you've been married before and your mindset is just different. And so you come to marriage already having conquered some things, but also you know yourself in a different way, that some things just aren't going to be a big deal. Now, if you are one who is in that space, it'd be interesting to know, what did you come to this new relationship, this new marriage? And maybe you're younger, because I know young people who were married and then get into a second marriage before they're 30. But life taught you something. What is it that you learned from the first experience that now you know has helped you and prepared you for a better life moving forward?
And I think, though, to answer to that statement is there almost should be two different formats. You should have a format for that couple who's never been married, who's young. Maybe a format for two well-established couples who've never been married, and then for another one for couples who have, or at least one person has been married before. Because those are all different levels of life and experiences that I think you can't have a blanket one size fits all marriage counseling.
All right, y'all, it's time to pause on this one. We got to hear your comments. Oh, please get into the discussion. Where are you? And leave it in the comment section. We've got to dig deep into this one. Okay, so the last part of this one, I want to get into what are the questions, since we talk about deep level, intimate questions. What would you say should be the level of discussion that you have? Because I've got about 5
I think you'd
primary
be better
topics.
at that than I would be answering. I think it has to come from the person who's the more analytical in the relationship is probably going to be the person asking the more questions. Somebody like me, I was like, okay, that's cool. It's good. It'll work out.
Okay, so let me ask you this. If you could go back, because obviously since you are in your better marriage,
Okay. Better self.
and you are, amen, so you are a better self person, but now you can look back, and hindsight often is 2020. What would you have asked? What would you have talked about? Because now you can say, oh, it's good, it's no problem. But you've got some life now that has taught you, maybe you should have talked about this more, or you should have asked this question, or just at least been more observant.
But see, I guess that's what goes back to my point. You're young and you're not really thinking about those. Even now, if I was to think back, it would be like, how could I be better in it?
And that's my point.
So, but I don't know if a marital counseling is going to help with that.
Okay, so here's what I'm hearing. The counselor in me is hearing. This really has to do with the level of maturity. This really is about how mature a person is to, number one, even seek wisdom, and then when you get it, to pay attention and take heed. Because if you're not even in that mindset, somebody can offer you such sound advice, but if you're not open to hear it, and your loins.
Yeah, but just think about life, period. How many times have we as young adults received advice from somebody older that has been there, and you still do whatever it is because you think you know better or times have changed? So that's why I say that marital counseling, every type of wise counseling is good, but are you going to follow it? And my thoughts are, especially when it comes to love, because love is a strong emotion and love makes you do irrational things, it's going to overlook wisdom unless there's a glaring red flag that says, oh, I didn't know you were still doing that, or oh, I didn't know you are doing that.
I love this conversation because this is where you get to observe how we think very differently. And my thought is, I know some young adults, and I would even dare say I was one of them, who sought wisdom, and I did.
Yeah, you got some
pay
anomalies
attention.
out there like yourself, like, yeah. So that's how you got me, because you paid attention.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Your friend told you to, slow down.
Oh, wait. You're right. But the better version. Let's be clear. But there are people who are seeking wisdom, and that's why I think pre-marital counseling, relationship coaching. I mean, look at social media and how many now we have relationship gurus, okay? It's because people are hungry to make sure that we don't make those mistakes. And there's a generation that I believe is seeking it out because we've seen all the devastation of our parents or forefathers, or whatever you want to call it, living in toxic relationships or choosing based on shallow, temporary standards, and because we want to do things better and differently and last, and especially if you are in the Word, you're realizing that there is some wise counsel that we should take heed of, because it'll save us some heartache, some heartbreak, some energy, some time, some money, some life experience. I mean, some things you just cannot replace. I can't get back those 5 years, or those 10 years. And if I'm going to move into it, this is one of the reasons why the marriage covenant, most preachers I know, at least the one who married us, Pastor Cosby, said, marriage is sacred and most serious and should not be entered into unadvisedly. Meaning just don't jump in because of your emotions. And I'm glad that there are people who are beginning to take off some of those layers and think differently about it, which is why we're doing this, because we've learned a lot as we are talking, but we also realized we didn't have some spaces to do some deeper level devotionals as a couple and conversation starters. So here you go. That's why we're doing this.
I will say too, though, to young couples, to any couple thinking about getting married, and even married couples, make sure that you find like some people, some wise couples that have experiences and or have walked through something, so that you can pick their brains about how to navigate your relationship. I think that's very important. I think that's probably even more important than maybe the marital counseling, is to have that village that you can talk to and come to and share intimate things about, and how to handle, your life's challenges in a relationship.
So let's say then their village, they become your coaches.
Right.
And it's still, the principle of it is you're getting some wisdom beyond yourself.
Yeah.
And those are respected people that can help you walk through life, and also help you see your blind spots, personal blind spots, and even help you check out the other person. Because again, to your point, and I agree, when we fall in love, we get all the goosebumps. We don't always see clearly, which is part of the reason why we chose, or at least I propose, that we not use the term fall in love, but rather we grow in love. Because falling implies all on its own. You about to get hurt if you're falling. But but if you're growing, why are you laughing?
Just because you always came up with all these sayings and stuff.
Well, I mean, but it makes sense though. If you're growing in love, it's an intentional thing. Like and growing suggests expansion and up. I don't want to fall. That's down. That's hurt. I'm bruising my leg. I mean, who want to be hurt?
You're right.
I want to grow in love,
Fall in
mature. Love. I want to see fruit from it as well. Right. And so going even into a relationship like that, if I can't grow with you in love, if we can't mature, if we can't expand our territory together and how we relate to one another, and then how the world is blessed, then, I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah. Another part of a good relationship, too, particularly for the fellas, is just kind of go along with stuff. So you get through the conversation much faster. You're just like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. So.
You saying it didn't make sense?
No, it does.
And you just said, yeah.
No, it does.
Okay, wait, we're gonna pause this. Listen, we have fun doing it, but this is really part of our conversation, and we thought we'd bring it because we know that sometimes it's good to have another perspective, and it's great conversation starters. So we're gonna do 2 parts. This is just the first one, but we wanted to give you an inside scoop and let you know that we want you to subscribe, like, and share, because this is going somewhere. And if you like it and you want more of this content, then we would love to be able to give you more of what we talk about and all the ways that we discuss the word and some relationship challenges as we grow in love.
Grow in love.
Y'all stay close, okay? This is Re and Lekesha. We'll see you. Part 2's coming.